In this video, we are learning there is a formula difference of two squares. So if we have a square minus b square, the factorization is square root of a plus square root of b times square root of a minus square root of b. So how we use it? If we have x squared minus 16 is 0, it's a quadratic equation. So write the x squared minus 16 as a difference of two square. Then we can add the two square roots and subtract the two square roots. It's called the a plus b times a minus b. It's called the conjugate pair. So we write x inside the power of 2 and we put a 4 inside the power of 2. So 4 squared is 16. Now it should be the green value plus the blue times the green value minus the blue. So it's x plus 4 times x minus 4 and it's factored. Once it's factored, two things gets multiplied equals to 0. So each of them must be 0. So either x plus 4 equals 0. When x plus 4 equals 0, the value of x should be negative 4. It's very simple. If x is negative 4, this value gets 0, where we subtract 4 from both sides, or we move the 4 to the other side. It's the same thing. Just to find the value of x is negative 4. And when x minus 4 is equals 0, add 4 on both sides, or move this negative 4 to the right side, make it positive. Now we will learn something new later. We could have just got the value from there. X plus 4 equals 0, so x must be negative 4. We just take the value, make the sign opposite, pick the same value, make the sign opposite. This is what we get, and this is what we could have done. And that's the end. X is negative 4 and x is positive. So we have an example to factor 4x squared minus 25 equals 0. Can we, sorry about that, can we rewrite it as the difference of two square? 4 is a squareable number, x squared is a direct, we can put it under the power of 2. Minus 25 is a squareable number, so we can write the 4x squared, we can put a 2x inside the power of 2. 2x squared is 4, x squared is x, 4x squared. And over here we can put a 5, 5 squared is 25, in front is a negative. So it should be the green plus the blue value times the green minus the blue value. So the factorization would be 2x plus 5 and 2x minus 5, which is a conjugate pair. So either of these value has to be 0. So when 2x plus 5 equals 0, move the 5 to the right side, make it negative. Divide both sides by 2 to isolate the x, and we get x equals negative 5 over 2. That's the final answer for the first part. The second part is 2x minus 5 equals 0. Move the 5 to the right hand side, negative 5 becomes positive 5. Divide both sides by 2, x is isolated. On the other side, 5 divided by 2, and that's positive. So two values of x, one is negative 2 over 5 and one is positive 2 over 5. Now we have 2x squared minus 32 equals 0. 32 and 2, we can't put them as a difference of two square, but let's try if I can factor out a 2 from these two terms. So factoring out a 2 is we divide the 2x squared by 2, we are left with x squared. Negative, divide the 32 by 2, we are getting a negative 16, negative. But the x squared and the 16, we can write it as a difference of two squares. So 2 times, we keep it blank, the parenthesis. X squared inside the bracket is x to the power of 2. 16 inside the bracket is the power of 2. So inside we can play with the conjugate pair with x plus 4 times x minus 4. So the answer should be x plus 4 times the x minus 4. All we are doing is just following the formula. Now 2 times the first parenthesis times the second parenthesis equals 0. 2 can't be 0. So either x plus 4 equals 0. When x plus 4 equals 0, move the 4 to the right side, becomes negative 4. The value of x should be negative 4. If I put a negative 4, that value becomes 0, makes everything on the left side 0. Or when x minus 4 equals 0, move the 4 to the other side, it becomes positive, or add 4 on the both sides, same things. Positive 4 is another value. If we plug in positive 4 on the second value, positive 4, negative 4 is 0, that makes the whole left hand side 0. 0 times any value is 0. And these two are the final answer. This example, we have a group of terms, two terms inside a power of 2, so x minus 4 all square minus 9. Can we put the 9 inside a square? Then it will be a difference of 2 square. So the first one is a group which is under the square. The second one is 3 under the square, which is 9. So the green value and the blue value is under the difference of 2 square. So all we can do is the green plus the blue value. In this case, the green is a group of values. So x minus 4 plus the blue value, and x minus 4 subtract the blue value, which is a negative 3. And it's done. We have to simplify the interior values, x minus negative 4 and a positive 3 is negative 1. And on the other side is x with a negative 4 and negative 3, same sign, it's an addition, keep the sign of the bigger number, is x minus 7. Two terms gets multiplied equals 0, so one of them has to be 0. When x minus 1 equals 0, the value of x is move the 1 to the other side, make it positive. X is positive 1 is one of the answer. And when x minus 7 equals 0, add 7 on both sides, or easy is move the 7 to the other side, the negative becomes positive. We have two values of x. Just out of curiosity, is it true? All we can do is plug in the value inside the equation. So the main equation was x minus 4, everything squared, minus 9 equals 0. If we plug in 1, so it should be instead of x, 1 minus 4 whole square minus a 9. 1 is 1 minus 4 is negative 3. It should be negative 3 whole square minus 9. It must be equal to 0. Negative 3 times negative 3 is positive 9 with that 9. And we can see 9 subtract 9 is 0. So the first value works. The second value, x minus 4, we just put it positive 7 minus 4. Copy the equation. Positive 7, negative 4 is a positive 3. And it's positive 3 squared with the negative 9. Sorry, it's a mistake. It should have been positive 3 squared. Sorry about that. So positive 3 whole square is also a 9. So it's 9 minus 9. And 9 minus 9, the 9 and 9 gets cancelled. The answer is 0. So the left side and right side is same. And we are done. Sorry about that. I just pressed the wrong button. I apologize for that. So the left side and right side same. Both x equals 1 and x equals 7. We have proved it. The answer is right. And we are done. This is a standard form of a quadratic equation. We can't use the difference of two square formulas on this one. This is, we pick the independent constant number and try to factor that number. And we just try to figure out what is the factor of 20. If we add, we should get the 9. So what is the factor of 20 that should give us 9? The first factor of 20 is 10 times 2. 20 times 1 is not giving us a 9. 10 times 2. If we add it, it's 12. If we subtract it, it's 8. Another factor is 4 and 5. 4 and 5, if we add it, we get the positive 9. So, checked. Positive 9 equals 4 and 5. All we do is just put two parentheses, x times x, and we just pick up the two values from there, the two factors. X with the positive 4 times x with the positive 5. And that's the answer. So 2 factor equals 0. One of them must be 0. So when x plus 4 equals 0, move the 4 to the other side, x is negative 4. If I plug in negative 4, that will be 0. That makes everything 0. And when x plus 5 equals 0, we move the 5 other side to the other side. Positive 5 becomes negative 5. So these are the two values of x. That makes the quadratic equation to 0. So if we plug in this value and check the equation, the left side would be 0. With x equals negative 4 and x equals negative 5. Another quadratic equation, which is not possible by difference of two squares, and it's in standard form. So what we do is we pick the independent constant number. We don't take the 40, we play with the negative 40. So we play with negative 40 and try to factor it. What two numbers are the factors of negative 40? But if we add or subtract, that should give us a positive 3. So we start with, that's the basic factorization. Now we have a very faster method coming soon. 2 times 20 is 40. Can we get a add or subtraction of 2 and 23? No. Another try. 4 times 10 is 40. If we add the 4 and 10, we get 14. If we subtract, we get 6, not 3. And another try. If we take a 5 and 8 and put a negative and a negative on the 5, positive with the 8, the reason one positive, one negative is to make the negative 40. And another reason to make the positive sign with the bigger number, because this should add up to positive 3. That's the reason we choose positive with that bigger number. Positive 8, negative 5. Negative 5 is a positive 3. And we are done. It should be x with the two chosen factors. So x with the negative 5 and x with the positive 8. Now, when x minus 5 times x plus 8 equals 0, either x minus 5 equals 0, move the 5 to the other side, one of the values is positive 5. And when x plus 8 equals 0, we just move the 8 to the other side, make it negative. These are the two values of x that makes the equation right. One is positive 5, one is negative 8, and we are done. This example is a different one. We have a coefficient of 3 with x squared, and we can't decide 15 as the independent constant. So what we do is we take this number on the left and take the independent constant, multiply these two numbers. So positive 3 and negative 15, we get a negative 45. Now the question is, what is the factor of negative 45 that makes a negative 4? So we try to figure out that factor. And the factor is the easy 15 times 3, and the easy factor most common is 9 times 5, which is a 45. So the negative 9 and positive 5 makes a negative 45. The reason of choosing negative with the largest number, because we are looking for a negative 4. So negative 4 is a negative 9 plus positive 5. Now, we can't write x minus 9 and x plus 5 with this one because we have a 3 coefficient in front. So what we do is rewrite the equation, pick up the negative 9 and the positive 5 with the negative 4. So we have a negative 4x as a negative 9x and a positive 5x. The negative 9x and positive 5x is negative 4x, and copy the 15. And we use factor by group. So what we are going to do is we are going to factor the first two terms and factor the next two terms. So factor the first two terms, we can factor out a 3 and the x from there. If I factor out a 3x, 3x squared divided by 3x, the remainder is x on the first term. And 9x divided by 3x, the x is gone, it's just a negative 3. And if we factor out a 5 from the next term, it's going to be the x minus a 3. Now, when this is factored, we can see we can factor out the green value from the first term plus 5 is 3x times the green value plus 5 times the green value. So we can factor out the green value. When we factor out the green value, from the first term, the green value is gone, the remainder will be 3x. And from the second term, the green value gone means we divide this by x minus 3, this is cancelled. We will be left with 3x. From the second term, divided by the green value, which is x minus 3, we will be left with just the 5. So the first 3x and the next one is 5, and we are done. 2 are factored. Now, these two value multiplies to 0, so each of them has to be 0, either of them. When x minus 3 equals 0, move the 3 to the other side, x equals positive 3. Or when 3x plus 5 equals 0, first of all, move the 5 to the other side, make it negative. To isolate the x, we divide the left side by 3, and we have to divide the right hand side by 3 as well. So x equals negative 5 over 3. That's the final answer. two values, one is a whole number and one is a fraction for this question, and we are done. Another example of a quadratic coefficient of 5 with x squared. So this sort of factor will not end up with x as a whole number. Maybe the value of x both are fractions, or at least one of them is guaranteed to be a fraction. What we have to do is take the number on the left and pick the number on the right with the sign. So it's positive 5 times the negative 12 is a negative 60. And the question is, what is the factor of negative 60 that would give us the negative 28? First we'll put the sign later. 15 and 4 positives, negatives, either a 19, 11, or 28. Then 20 and times 3. Add it, 23, subtract it, 17, positive, negatives, we can play with the sign. Next number is 30 times 2. Now when we have 30 times 2, we choose negative with the bigger number, because the negative 30 with the positive 2 would give us the negative 28. So the negative 60 is factored, and we add it with the negative 30 with the positive 2, we get the negative 28, but we have to rewrite it. The 28x has to be written as a negative 30x and a positive 2x. That is exactly equal to negative 28x. 3 term, we are making it 4 term. 12 is copy and paste, equals 0. Now we would factor it by group, the first pair and the second pair. From the first pair, we can factor out a 5x, 5 and the x. From the second pair, we can factor out the 2 from S2 only. Now, when we divide the first term, first part of the first term by 5x, we will left with the x minus 30 divided by 5 is a 6, and the x and x cancel. So it's going to be x minus 6. And the next term, if we factor out, so divide 2x by 2, we are left with the x. Divide the 12 by 2, we will have the same answer, x minus 6. When these two answers are same, we can be 100% confirmed the chosen factor is right. Now we factor out the green value x minus 6 from this two term. When we divide the first term by this is gone, we will be left with 5x. Divide the second term by the x minus 6, that will get cancelled by the x minus 6, and we will be left with 5x plus 2 on the next term. These are the two factors equals 0. So when x minus 6 equals 0, move the 6 to the other side, make it positive. Positive 6 is one of the value. The other value is going to be a fraction. When 5x plus 2 equals 0, move the 2 on the other side, 5x equals negative 2. Positive 2 becomes negative. Divide both sides by 5. So if I divide the left side by 5, it's going to be x, and the right side is the negative 2 divided by 5. It's negative 2 over 5. These are the two answers for this quadratic problem. This example, we have done it before. You can see the previous videos, but we are going to using the same example just to see how the quadratic formula works. How we get a is 1, how we get b is 3, how we get c is negative 40. We are just describing it in moments. So that's just a recap. We have done it on the previous videos. We factored this one, take the factor of negative 40 as a negative 5 and positive 8 makes a negative 40, and these two numbers makes the positive 3. So one of the result was x is 5, and the other value of x was x is negative 5. We are going to do the same thing using the quadratic formula. Now the quadratic formula is x equals negative of the b value plus minus square root of the b value square it minus 4 times the a value times the c value. All these values divided by twice double of the a value. And how we decide the ABC? That's the general format of a quadratic formula, ax squared. We take the coefficient of x squared, a. We see nothing, so it's a positive 1. A is 1. B times x is 3 times x. So the b has been taken place by the positive 3. We write b as blank 3, positive 3 is the same thing. The last number is negative 40, and the last part is positive c. So the value of the C is negative 40. This is how we choose the A, the B, and the C. A is the coefficient of x squared. B is the coefficient of just the x term. And C, the negative 40, is the independent constant. So we are not factoring it. We're just using the formula. It's negative of the B value. The B value is positive 3. Put it there. Then plus minus the square root value of B squared is going to be the 3 squared. Plus, sorry, the B squared minus 4 times the A value times the C value. So is 4. Comes from the formula times the A value, which is the 1, times the C value, which is the negative 40. All value divided by double of A. And the double of is double of 2 times the A value is 1. So we use the formula, plug in the A, B, and C value, and just simplify it. So negative times a positive 3 is a negative 3, plus minus. Inside the square root, positive 3 whole square is a 9. Negative of 4 times 1 is negative 4. Negative times negative is a positive. 4 times 40 is 160. Everything is divided by 2 times 1, which is 2. Now the next line is negative 3. Plus or minus is 169 square root. Everything is divided by 2. Now 169, if we just use a calculator, what we can do is we can find the square root of a value of 169, which is a 13. 169, and the answer is 13. So square root of 169 is equals to 13. So it's negative 3 with the plus and minus. Square root of 169 is 13. Everything is divided by 2. Now one of the value we will take with the positive 13 with the rest fractions, and the other value we will take with the negative 13. So one of the values is negative 3 with the positive 13, all divided by 2, which is a negative 3. Positive 13 is a positive 10 divided by 2, which is a 5. We know one of the answers was 5. And the next value, what we do is negative 3 with the negative 13. And everything is divided by 2. Negative 3, negative 13, same number is an addition. Pick the sign of the bigger number is negative 16 divided by 2. And the answer should be negative 8. We have done it before with a negative 8. It's just to build up confidence how the quadratic formula works. And we have done.